There's somebody there safeguarding mum 24/7 in her own home, putting the meals on the table that mum wants, liaising with us very closely because we are a hands-on family. And she's got her dog with her. Her friends can come and have coffee in the village. It was literally her routine continued, but with the support of a lovely lady who became, more so sort of a friend companion as well as the carer, because, you're going through all kinds of things together at home. And yes, when we put up as a family, we put our trust into those ladies. And I have to say, my blood pressure went down.
Hello, Sally, and welcome to the Carecast. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
We've got a special edition of the Carecast today. Sally, you're a client of ours, and you've been using our service for around 2 years or over 2 years. Actually, we were just discussing. But if you wouldn't mind, just tell us a bit about yourself in general, but also then what led you to looking for a care agency or a living care agency,
Yeah.
and a bit about that.
At the time when we were looking for a care company, I was actually in full-time employment and a shift worker. I was actually a police officer. So
Yes.
working 12-hour shifts and trying to keep an eye on mum. And mum is an hour away from me, so it's 2 hours drive each way, and doing most of her shopping after COVID and everything. And we're a tight family. I've got a brother and a sister-in-law, and we're all in full-time occupation and working away in London and everything. So it was quite difficult when mum got very poorly and we had to take her into hospital, and she was there for 6 weeks. And as a family, that sort of really knocked us for six, because mum's nickname is Teflon. Nothing sticks, nothing's wrong with mum. She's a right tough cookie, still is a tough cookie. And we didn't really know what to do. Hospital was dreadful, but we got her through the really bad stage. And it got to a point where I think the three of us, it was very, very difficult just visiting, going into the hospitals, trying to sort of deal with the care that wasn't being given to her and fighting for everything we got. And then they said they were going to discharge her, and they were going to discharge her home. She lives out in the country in a house all on her own with lots of land all around her. And they were going to take her back home for one of these 3 carer a day packages, which we all know is going to end up being 2. You don't know what time they're coming. You don't know who's going to be detailed to her that day. The thought of her sitting in bed waiting for someone to come in filled us with absolute horror.
Horrible.
So
And how
we
was she
said,
at the time
right,
in
we're
terms?
taking
Sally,
the.
how was she at the time in terms of her mobility
She
and
was bedridden. The hospital had made her bedridden and incontinent, and with dreadful sores on her heel and her feet from being in bed. And we decided we were going to take control. And by taking control, we had to decide where we were going to put her to safeguard her, to make sure she was safe, because we knew we couldn't do it because of our work. So we made the decision that she was going to have live-in care. But in the meantime, because it was going to take us time to find that, because we hadn't ever been down that road, we didn't know what we were doing. It was very frightening, a very open sort of minefield, really. And the important thing was to get her back on her feet, strong. She was very, very weak. And we found a care home after my very diligent spreadsheets and visits and questions and everything. And we found one very close to my brother because he had the dog. And we were able to sort of put her in there from the hospital, which wasn't immediately easy, but you have to be quite strong-minded and very strong as a family to get all this done. And while she was safe in the
how
care
far
home,
away was the care home from the hospital or mum's home itself?
so she was in Ashford and the care home was Maidstone. So we're talking about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And of course, getting her on and off and into beds and off beds and in lifts and everything. And she was very immobile. She was very frightened, very vulnerable. It was very concerning to see how, from a very confident lady, she'd gone straight down to this bedridden, aged little lady. And so I said, we've got to put her in the care home. It's against our principles. We swore we'd never do that to her. She didn't need to go there. But we decided she needed that for her immediate care to get strength. Her heels would be healed. That's a strange thing to say, heels to be healed from the bed sores. And then we had time in slow time to find the right care company. And that's really how we ended up coming to you. And you were my first person that I spoke to, your company. We'd been given by, friends, oh, you want to try this company? You want to try this company? And I sort of thought, well, I'm going to research. I want to go and, sort of talk to people. I want to see what's going on. And I didn't like any of the other ones that we'd been given. And I kept saying to my family, I like the first people I spoke to because, and they kept saying to me, why do you like this company? And I said, and I don't know if the word really makes sense to anybody, but it was the substance of the company. And I just felt when I spoke to the company, all my problems are sort of, it was just like I had somebody who understood where we felt about looking after mum and not deserting her into a care home or anything. We wanted to look after her and what we were looking for as a family, what mum was looking for. It just seemed to be also the way that the webpage was, it attracted me. And then the first person, I can't remember who it was on the end of the phone that I spoke to, just filled me with confidence. And I think after that, you were my I think you were my comparison actually to everyone I went to after that. I was sort of thinking, I don't know, my little spreadsheet that my family joked about with the questions and the marks out of 10, they have to, it's a family joke now. They say we can't really laugh about your spreadsheets because it found the right care home and it's found the right care company. So, so I would say to people, know your questions and know what you want.
Yes.
And stick to your guns on that.
No, absolutely. And it was Samita that you first spoke to. I was checking back.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yes, October 23. No, it's interesting, isn't it? Because sometimes you just get a feel for something depending on how you feel the people are motivated, I think, sometimes.
I did it with the other companies, perhaps because of my job and the people I deal with and everything out there. I get a quick sense whether I'm happy with a person or I'm not happy. I think that's why my families leave things to me because, I'm the one. I don't know the nicknames we give ourselves in our family. My mother's Teflon and I'm Rottweiler. Don't quite know why.
I thought you were going to be like Spidey sense, something like that. So with really good
if I want to know something, I will ask. And I went away from that first phone call thinking, oh, okay, this was easier than I thought it was going to be, but I must be sensible and talk to other companies. And I just didn't get that from another company.
Yep. And how long in the end did mum stay in the care home?
We had to book her in.
You intended to. Did she gain her strength back there? And
yes, she had to book her in for a minimum of 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And which we decided with the condition that she was in, that was going to probably be it. And we were very fortunate we did that because it took all of that 8 weeks. I think it was only on her 7th week that she launched her escape party movement and started calling taxis to go and get out of it. And that I'm keeping her a prisoner and everything. But so we realised by the 7th week she was ready to come home. So it did take the 8 weeks. She was very frightened of her capabilities because she didn't want to fall. She knew the consequences of a fall. She was frightened that she couldn't do everything that she was able to do before she went into hospital. She was incontinent. She couldn't walk, no longer independent. And her mental health deteriorated. I mean, Mum is a retired school teacher. She's a very tough cookie, very intelligent, extremely independent. Has been on her own for about 30 years. And right up until the day I took her into hospital, she was independent, living on her own. Okay, me going over with shopping, my family popping in and everything. To have that taken away from her and then put into a care home, albeit it was a luxury. I mean, book me in there, I'd been 2 rooms down from her. It was lovely, but it wasn't what she wanted. We knew that's not what she wanted, but we had to safeguard her. That was the most important thing. We needed to make sure that she was healing and getting her strength. She couldn't walk. And so in her home, we knew that she would not been able to have moved around. So that's what we needed to get that strength forward. And also the sores on the back of her heels, if you saw the photos, they're horrific. And we had a lovely little Filipino nurse. He was gorgeous. And I went every other day to see her at the care home and we measured the wound and how it was healing. And he was the one that got that to a point that there was no more infection likely. And she could come home and be in her own home and walking around. And I think that was the turning point. And in that sort of 8 weeks, it gave us time to sort the house out, get that ready for her to come home in a new state of sort of organisation for her so that she could use her Zimmer frame more. We brought her from upstairs, struggling and kicking. She didn't want to come to have a bedroom downstairs. the bedroom downstairs with the bathroom. Everything had to be rearranged. And then we had to make sure we had accommodation for the carer. So it took that 8 weeks to prepare and sort ourselves out and prepare mum for it, because mum's got short-term memory loss, which we didn't really know at the time. And so it was very painful trying to tell her and make sure that she remembered what was going on. We did try to include her in choosing who she would like. You guys, you send us 2 or 3 or 4 ladies for us to choose from.
Yep.
And we thought it would be nice for mum to be able to choose the lady who would be living with her. But it was quite clear mum couldn't cope with that. So my sister-in-law and I, we are the people that do that. We make sure we always like to talk to all the ladies. And I have to say, they're all so lovely, absolutely lovely. Sometimes we go, how do we choose? You know, try to choose somebody that likes things that mum likes, got her interests.
I was going to say, do you recall what length of time it was between deciding, okay, you're definitely going to go ahead and choosing the carer and actually then beginning? Was it, say, a couple of weeks?
I think, to be realistic, it was when she was in hospital. We knew we wanted to do a living carer then, but we didn't have the time to do that in sort of investigation, due diligence, looking at companies, because it was so new to us. I think we knew we had to get her out of the hospital, and we knew that was probably going to be a care home for that respite care, and so that we could get her strength. And we knew that we're all sort of sensible people. My brother is a very calm businessman from London that says, we'll do this slowly. Whereas I'm the sort of one that will charge across the field going, we'll do this now, we'll do this now, we'll do this now. And so I think we needed that time to actually find out who we were going to go to, because it was so new to us. We really didn't have any proper guidance as to who to go to, where, what, and how. It was so new to us. We even asked the hospital for guidance, but nobody would give us anything. So we knew we did it on our own.
Yep. I think it was Sophia that you first chose, actually, to come to look after
Lovely
mum.
Sophia from Portugal. Yes, we loved her, but mum didn't. And that's the lesson we had to learn. There was nothing against Sophia at all, but it was her age, I think. We didn't realise this. We were a little bit naive. Mum being mum, I had to reprimand my mother when she was calling Sophia, because she couldn't remember the name, the girl. And I went, well, that stops right now. None of that. And the sort of look of my mum's face when she's been reprimanded by, no, mum, this is not acceptable. We can't do that. That's really bad. And we spoke when it came to Sophia's time to go. And Sophia, bless her, had the hard work, because first one, and mum is very naughty. She is a challenge. I can say that because she's my mother. She's not the easiest person to deal with. We know that. And we always give that warning to people. She's not easy. In fact, I think the dog's easier than her to deal with. And I think poor Sophia, because mum had never been at home with somebody helping her and getting home to the balance of how much help to give mum and not. And mum being quite barking back at her about things. I think it was very difficult. But I think when we then got Agatha, and we loved Agatha, she was a family member by the end of her stay. We went for somebody a little bit more mature. Sorry?
She's good at cooking as well, isn't she?
Her Polish cooking's absolutely superb, I have to say. Yes, definitely. But we realised nothing wrong with Sophia, apart from mum saw her as too young. And we needed a lady more or less of my age and of my sister-in-law's age, so that she could actually see them as a person who was helping her. And immediately when Agatha came in, and my brother had a very firm conversation with her, mum, it's living carer, or you go back to this very nice care home. The choice is yours. You're not on your own. And unfortunately, this is the way it has to be. And I think she was intelligent enough to realise, okay, I've got to adopt this new process. And Agatha settled in very well. And as I said, became part of the family. Brodette and I, we got on very well with her. And in fact, we kept in contact with her with a few messages and everything. She was a family member. She came out to all the family do's, the parties, the meals out. She was part and parcel of Christmases with us and everything. Yes, and she was an actual delight to be with.
A year's time.
Sorry?
She worked with you for about a year, on and off.
Yes, she did. Yes. It broke all our hearts when she wanted to move on and go to somewhere a bit bigger. Yeah. But we had lovely ladies. We've had Monica. Actually, I want Monica here. Her cleaning skills are absolutely, and her organisation. I've never seen the kitchen so well organised in all my life. Yes, Monica is, when I say to her, we'll take mum out for a lunch. Why don't you have a nice relaxing afternoon and, sit down, catch up with your family, watch some TV. And we get back and she's sweeping the patio.
Yeah.
But
some themselves useful.
Yeah. I mean, and they've all got on extremely well because we've got a gardener that comes in to help mum, and the gardener pops in and has a cup of coffee during the week as well, because he's a sort of a good friend now. And all our friends and family that have come have all said, how superb all the ladies are, and mum, how well mum looks. And I look back now at some of the photos of how frail she was when she first came out of hospital to now. She's 95 in May. And apart from being on water tablets for the leg problem that she went into hospital with, she's Teflon. We've all had colds, we've all had COVID, we've all had everything. Nothing touches her.
She's very strong.
Going
back to I forgot to ask you a question about the hospital versus the care home, because obviously the care home did a great job actually getting mum back on her feet and strong.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the Filipino male nurse.
I think it's a name, I can't remember it. Yeah.
Who really took, responsibility, and really was monitoring the wound and doing everything that needed to be done to basically nurse her back to health. But what, other than that individual who really took ownership of that, what else would you say? Where were the hospital going wrong that what the care home were doing right? Because you'd like to think a hospital is a place of healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the opposite happened. Where were they going wrong where the care home were going right?
I think with the care home, I mean, this one particularly was a very new, modern, all singing, all dancing. They worked very hard. They were lovely. I mean, mum has a Mediterranean diet, mainly fish and vegetables. And the chef would come to her room and ask her every Monday, what would she like for the rest of the week? And I was sitting there thinking, what else would you do that for me? But I think it was the fact that she wasn't at home in her home. She loves her home. She wasn't with her dog. The dog was with my brother because they've got other dogs. I'm a person, their dogs. Poppy was very safe and we took lots of photos. But with the care home, we were able to actually bring the dog in to visit, which was very good. And visiting at any time. So that was one good plus. But the thing that was that she was not happy. She was not in her own home. She felt caged in her room, although she could go to the communal areas. The nurses were all lovely, but they changed all the time because of rotas, shifts and everything. And we noticed as well that they were busy. So they can only do so much. And now mum, as I said, is a very naughty, very naughty. I think that's probably a very polite way of saying it. A naughty person. And what she used to do was she used to hide the medication that she was given. And because they were too busy to watch her take it, she was hiding it in her pocket. And then I came one day and she goes, look, I've managed to hide away and they don't know I'm not taking. And I was like, on the difference between, I think, the care home and then having that carer at home is the one-to-one attention, and it's 24/7, same person. Okay, although the lady will have her breaks and will be walking the dog or cooking in the kitchen while mum's in the lounge or whatever. You've got that reassurance that there's somebody there safeguarding mum 24/7 in her own home, putting the meals on the table that mum wants, liaising with us very closely because we are a hands-on family. And she's got her dog with her. Her friends can come and have coffee in the village. It was literally her routine continued, but with the support of a lovely lady who became, more so sort of a friend companion as well as the carer, because, you're going through all kinds of things together at home. And yes, when we put up, as a family, we put our trust into those ladies. And I have to say, my blood pressure went down. So
I'm going to come on to that actually, because whenever you're making a really big decision on behalf of a loved one, or mum in your case, obviously taking into account all her wishes and what's best for her, and talking to her about it as well, it needs to be a decision that you're going to be okay with as well, that you're going to be able to tolerate and not to feel too stressed about. So how was that initially? And as you say, obviously your blood pressure did go down in the end, but obviously there would have been fears initially, that all sorts of fears.
Yeah.
But
I
they,
mean,
in time, they went away with experience, I suppose, did they?
yes, as a family, as I said, my brother, he's an hour away. I'm an hour away. Um, Busy lives, busy, hectic lives. We've got animals as well, all of us and everything. But it was very tiring, emotionally tiring as well as physically. I'd be going over to mum 2, 3, 4 times a week, making sure she was okay, doing her shopping. Then other people, we would try and make sure that somebody was going in each day to check on her, to make sure everything. Mum, as I said, was very naughty, very difficult. That if you went I'll just give mum a phone and see if she's okay, or send her a text, she wouldn't answer. Why do I need to answer? I don't feel like answering today.
Hmm.
But meanwhile, I've got the neighbour down the road. Can you go have a look in the window and see if she's on the floor? And I say to her, we will have to make a deal, mum, otherwise this is going to go up a notch. I'm going to phone you in the morning and I want you to phone me in the evening. If you don't comply, I'm going to have Jack, the gardener, come in and check on you every single day. And you don't want that, do you? No. So phone me in the morning, speak to me in the evening, and we'll be okay. And that's how we had to deal with that until mum went into hospital. And so, so my nerves were on edge, wondering if she's all right. I haven't heard from her. Has she fallen over? Is she at the bottom of the stairs? She's right out in the middle of not really nowhere. She's in the main high street of a very small village, but she's tucked away. And it was very assuring, and it made me feel much better. My health came back when I knew that mum, one, was in the care home until we could find the living carer. And then once the ladies arrived, it was like you could actually visit mum and you could come in and say hello. Everything would be nice. The house would be lovely and clean. Mum would be sitting there all happy and bright, breakfasted or whatever. And, it was lovely. Have a nice conversation with whoever the lady is there. And, I have to say, it probably took about 6 months for me to sort of and realised that the responsibility of the pressure had come away from me slightly. It's
Yep.
always there because as I said, we're all a hands-on family. We like to know what's going on, and we do visit and we go out lots and do things. But the fact that for 24/7, I haven't got to be sitting there at night thinking, is she at the bottom of the stairs or is she in bed? Okay.
No, absolutely.
And there's no price on that. You can't put a price on that reassurance.
No. Definitely, you can't really live a healthy and happy life if the uncertainty is at too high a level. Is it temporarily? Obviously, when mum was in hospital, it was obviously very painful, but that couldn't carry on, could it? Really?
It was a very difficult 6 months because mum fought the fact that she needed help. Now, when you get her in a lucid moment and we do talk about everything, and she says, I understand why you did everything and I'm at home and that's what I want to be. And we've always said over the years, we will never just put you in a care home. The only time you would have to do that is if everything else had been exhausted and it was, again, the best thing for her. But at 95, she's not as agile as she was. But, she can't remember what she ordered for lunch, but she can talk to you about, she can remember who she sat beside on a plane going out to Singapore in 1963. So she's there. We have lovely conversations with her. I'm doing one of those books I think I found online where you ask them all these questions that you probably didn't know when you were a child and when they were growing up and everything. And I'm learning so much more about mum because she can talk and have so much more time to talk to me about what's happened in the past.
Sorry,
And
that's software, isn't it? What memory lanes games?
yeah, it's
Yes.
a little hardback book I've got. And,
Oh.
when we're sitting in a pub and she's asked me 25 times if the lasagna's arrived yet, and I get my book out and I say, so mum, so who was your first boyfriend? And can you remember, what your day like was when you got married, and things like that, which perhaps, growing up and perhaps now in our busy lives, we've never thought to ask. And perhaps one day when mum isn't around, I might like to know that. So we've now got that quality time. Rather, I'm rushing in, here's your shopping, do you need this? Do I need to order medication? Blah, 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 blah. I've now got this. I can rush in, say hello, off we go for lunch, and we can chit chat, and I can sit there with coffee and have a chat with her, chat with whoever's there with her. It's nice. And because we have, Claudette and I put together this WhatsApp group, so whoever the carer is with mum is on this WhatsApp group with us, so that we give that support to the lady, so that as and when she's got a question, where's more clean towels or something, she just puts that on, and myself or Claudette will always reply. And I said, I'm the 24/7 person to ring at any time, whatever time of day, if there is a query, so that they know they've got that support. So I think to have that support then makes it easier for them then to care for mum. Especially for this the sort of the is it the step-in ladies between the main carer, when mum is sitting there going, oh no, I don't take that tablet now. Oh yes, you do. Because she's
She
playing the
says that
game.
very confidently, no doubt. And
Oh yes, and she'll look at you with that school teacher look. And yes, she's very naughty, and we know she's very naughty. And as a family, and most of her friends will always say, "You're nobody until you've been, spoken to by mama." And but she's very strong. And but to look at her now, and how well she looks, nobody would actually say she's 95. She looks probably more 85.
really,
So. And
What?
I think that is down to the care. I mean, I think it is. We got her out of hospital at the right time, and I think we had to make sure that we got her into that care. But then, after we got her strong, she'd never been able to come home in the condition she came out of hospital. And then when she came home, she just flourished because of the care that she got when she was at home. So yeah, and I mean, all I can say is thank you to you guys, and thank you to your company, because I think, if we hadn't, I don't know where I would be health wise, and I think thinking about mum, I don't know whether we still have her with us.
That's terrible to think, isn't it? But you went with your intuitions and you figured it out and did it.
It's not an easy process, and especially if you've got no experience of it, and you have to go with your gut feeling, and you have to know what you want as a family. And the good thing about our family is we're a very strong family, and we do stick together. But it is a case of, go with your intuition, and mine was with you.
What advice would you? And thank you for that, by the way. But what advice would you give to other families considering a living care? I don't necessarily just mean go ahead or not go ahead. How did you deal with uncertain decisions that needed to be made? Or how did you get through the times where you thought, I'm just not sure I'm doing the right thing here?
Go with care company. I think you have to ask what quality of life you want your loved one to have. Are you happy for them to, and you can't class all care homes like this, sit around the edge of a room watching the TV that's on full volume. And also with care companies, care homes, sorry, you find that you have to look very carefully. Our modern one that we went to had 3 floors. The bottom floor was people like mum, the middle floor with dementia, and the top floor was basically end of life, very sadly. So they put you in the area that you should. Some care homes can't do that because of the layout. So you have to be very careful when you're looking at a care home as to, I went into a few that had dementia. I could deal with things like that. I'm used to dealing with people. But so people going in and out of other people's rooms and grabbing hold of you and clinging hold of you and wanting to hug you and everything. My mum would have been absolutely aghast that she would not have been able to have coped with that. So so whatever you go into a care home to ask, you have to look very carefully, because they will tell you what you want to hear. So you do have to look through that. But with a carer coming into the home, and you are able to, because I think I call it from my job, because I'm retired now, a flow, a family liaison officer, basically. And we have Sarah. And I've always spoken with Sarah, who's lovely.
So that's Sarah in our office, isn't it?
Yes,
That
and
after you
I've liaised with her over all the carers, and she knows what we look for, what we're after in a person, and you get that sort of bond going, really. And you can talk to her quite openly about concerns and problems, and she sorts everything out. And I think the 24/7 care and the reassurance, mum, dad, whoever is going to be safe. I think that's what would take me away from a care home, because, there's, I don't know, 40, 30, 40, 50, whatever in a care home. And at home, there's just your mum and the carer,
one-on-one.
a one-to-one. And you can't get better than that. And they're in their own home. So it is one of those things, but I would think if that's what you've always said to your family member, We've always said to mum, we're not going to put you in a home. That's not what we're going to do. They rely on you because they become not able to make those decisions. You have to make those decisions for them. And that's why I think if you can do this and do a living carer, I don't know how long we can do it for. I don't know how long mum's health is going to carry on that we can do that for. But as a family, we are united in saying that as long as we can do that for her, this is what we're going to do. Because I don't think you can get much better than a one-to-one. And on a company that you know you can trust and you can go to. The fact is that if something happened to the carer we've got now, it's a phone call away from getting somebody else to come in. There's that support system the whole time. Like if the carer goes off and has COVID or something, who do you get to come in? A phone call away, and something very quickly is put in place. And that's also, it's that support team.
You mentioned that from when you first spoke to us, you had a different feeling about what the experience would be. But after you had the first carer, and you obviously then eventually would need to change carer and have relief carers and to meet different carers as you went along. How was that sort of process managed? Or if you ever had concerns or just wanted to chat to someone, was the telephone answered and were your emails answered? Things like that?
Oh, yes. Communication is 100%. When it actually, your ladies, Sarah is very quick to say, Ella's 6 weeks is coming to an end soon, so we need to look for somebody to cover in between. And I go, all right, lovely. And I go, oh, is it possible to have a driver because mum loves to go out and about? Mum's social life, it's better than mine. She's had a pat the whole time. She says, I'll send you 2 or 3 ladies and it all comes through. And myself employed it, look at the profiles and pictures,
get an email,
and it's so nicely written.
You get an email with a link, and you click on the link, and it shows the carer's profile picture. And most of the carers see they have
click on the email. Yeah, it's very direct, and you see the picture of the lady. You can see their qualifications. They do a little intro about themselves, and then you get some really nice comments from other people who have used this lady for their family, and then you decide yes, no, which one I want to go to because they're all so good. And we usually choose 2 or 3 just to speak to. And Sarah organises that. We do a sort of a Teams call. And so we see them face to face and we chat to them. And then we get back to Sarah and we say, we would like whoever, if she's available. And then it's all set up. And basically the current carer and the new carer then chat to each other about a handover, and a date is agreed. And as a family, okay, we just do it because we know mum will be sitting there banging her coffee on the table going, where's my coffee? It's 11 o'clock thing. We will always make sure one of us is there just to facilitate everything so that the new carer can come in. We think it's important the new carer meets the family. Circumstances are different for lots of people if they don't live locally or whatever. And we then sit with mum, we bring a meal over so that the carer hasn't got to worry about arranging a meal. They've just got there. So we always bring something over, one of our famous casseroles or something that we bring over. Myself or my sister-in-law does it. We take it in turns to do it. And we sit everyone down at the table after the carer's gone. And so the carer can settle in, meet mum, and we can say any other questions you might want to ask us because we're here. And make sure that they've got the WhatsApp link, and then we leave them to it, and we just perhaps check in on them the next day to make sure everything is all okay. And that's how we are.
I think we like to develop this with most families wherever possible, but just looking at your sort of bookings, I think mainly had the same 2 carers for practically the whole of the last year. And that means that obviously they get to know your mum, that you get to know them, and then it just makes the whole stress level down because everyone knows what they're doing, really. But I think that must have really, really helped, just having that continuity, the same couple of people back and forth.
And to be quite honest, I think continuity is important because, with mum's short-term memory loss, her remembering names, and who people are, and somebody new, and it's coming into her home and, into her area, and it's going to be putting her to bed, helping her in the bathroom, and it all becomes very personal that we need to make sure we have the right person. And, and I think the continuity is that it's not somebody different every week or every day, whereas you'd probably get in a care home. And if you relied on the state, sort of companies and everything, sending in somebody 3 times a day, That's not going to be the same person at the same time with the same routine.
No, that's a very tricky situation for the person receiving the care, but for the carer as well, really.
And I think the carer can settle because it's their life as well. And, we always make sure that they can take their breaks. And as I said, when we take her out for a family lunch or something, and the carer says, or we always say, would you like to come and join us? And I think I'll just stay at home if that's okay. Some bits to do, phone calls to make. And we go, do you know what? Make the most of that, because we've got mum. She's perfectly safe with all of us. We have our magic bag full of all the bits that she needs and everything, and we go out with her. And we'll deliver her back home safely, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever it is that the plan is. And, and so the carer does get a little bit of an extra break, because I know what mum's like. I could never be 24/7 with her. Mum's naughty. She can be very difficult, very sort of belligerent and very no, sort of thing. And you have to think, how do I approach this? And then she's, don't be fooled by that little old lady with the grey hair smiling.
They've obviously developed a really good way of managing things in a calm way and a supportive way without.
And we are very upfront with the new carers. She's not easy. She can be difficult. The dog's the easiest to deal with.
What dog
and again, because we have the dog, we have to make sure somebody loves dogs as well.
What sort of dog does Mum have, Sally?
Oh, she has a very, very, very spoiled one-eyed pug. Yeah, Poppy. Yeah, but she's lovely. She's a lovely dog. She hasn't got a bad bone in her. She's very soft. She's very loving. But again, she can be a little bit cheeky, a little bit naughty. She's required to be put down the garden and a walk down the street and fed. You do have to, make sure you have the right carer, whether we've got a cat or a dog or a budgie or whatever it is. It's all considerations that comes with the person, and Mum's house is quite big. She doesn't have to worry about the gardens because we've got a gardener for that. But, the house is quite a big home. So although we've been able to give the care of the top part of the property, so they've got their own sort of like little 1-bedroom, it's a huge big bedroom come dining lounge with an ensuite. So they've got a nice sort of living area, which we made nice for them because we thought it was important when they had downtime. They had somewhere nice to go. We were fortunate with the layout of the house that we were able to do what we did. Don't ask me how we got beds up and down those stairs. Don't. I think I'm still getting over that with the garden now. So I think the two of us fell down it with a bed. But it's not easy when one of you gets stuck and then you budge and then everything comes down. But you have to sort of plan and you have to think about how it's going to be. And it just does work. And now all the hard work we can look back on. And yes, so, it's lovely to see Mum, and Mum loves coming out. And Mum is in such a good frame of mind, mentally and physically. And I think, when I think back now, we've said this as a family, we wouldn't be where we are now if we hadn't gone the route that we had done. Painful, frightening, an unknown quantity, but you have to go with your gut feeling and just do it.
Sally, I really appreciate the time and that you've taken to tell us all about your experience and how honest you've been telling us all about it. Really, I think it'd be really helpful for people that are wondering what to do next to listen to that. And thank you ever so much.
No, lovely. No, thank you.
All right, Sally. Speak again. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.